It's gonna be a reading vlog. Woman. Oh! That's insane. Okay, hey team.
You have done me dirty for the last time. Do you hear me? She'd be on my side like 75% of the time.
And you.
Look at her.
Okay. Here's the sitch. It's gonna be a reading vlog. That's why you clicked on it, because you saw the title. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now listen. I know multiple times in the past I've been like, I'm never reading this book, because I've said it multiple times. Type TBR tag, and it was in my ranking book talks video. I said never, but you know, it was free. So I've heard that there's a little bit of spice in it, and I've been wanting a little bit of romance spice. Insane. Sometimes girls just need a little bit of spice. A little bit of a... I have no idea what this book's about. My coworker tried to explain it to me and I got really confused. It's apparently about like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but he's a fairy. I don't know. We're gonna read it starting now. So, it's been a few days, but I started reading A Court of Thorns and Roses last night, and I actually really am enjoying it. World building is not something easy for me to really understand, because I don't know, sometimes I get caught up on details and I miss a lot of details because I read pretty quickly, but I like the setup so far. It feels a little bit, this writing style is interesting because it makes me feel like I'm reading like he was a high fairy and all that stuff. Like, it feels super regal. Fantasy always kind of feels older to me, if that makes sense. Like, they don't use the same prose and lexicon as fiction, if that makes sense. That's just something that like I have to overcome in my journeys to being a fantasy reader. I just texted my mom, this is the first book that I've read in a while where I'm like, I want to leave class to read this book. Like, usually it's like, okay, it's a hobby for me to do later, but this one, like, I want to get through it. So that's good. I'm on page like 80 right now. So she's been taken, so Feyre, finally learned how to say her name. Feyre has been taken to the castle by Lucian and Tamlin, and she killed Andros. And I think that like her family is just the worst. So I said, okay, maybe I read too fast because, fair enough. Like, the first couple pages I was beyond confused because I was trying to jump into it. Not a good idea. I said, her family, trash. Her family is trash because they just said bye. She was summoned and her dad was like, go. And I mean, I suppose it's better than your daughter dying, but her sisters, the older one, or I don't know if they're older. Wait, they're older than her, aren't they? I don't know the birth order, but Nesta, she's annoying. Elaine is just passive, but it's giving very much Little Women. It's giving very much, Feyre is Jo, and then Nesta's giving Amy, and then, what's her name? Elaine. Is she giving Beth? Is she giving Beth? Maybe Meg. Who knows? Then I said, oh, okay, murder, because she just killed that thing. And the way she talks about it, like, I guess it's because she doesn't really care that it was an animal. She didn't know that it was a fairy. But when she's like, yeah, I shot him through the eye, I was like, oh, sure. When they came to, like, get her, I said, break in the house, why don't you? Because they really, like... That's how they did her. The best point I've had so far is I said, Beauty and the Beast? Okay. Because my coworker did tell me, when she told me to get this book, she told me that it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. And I thought that was her reading of it. But now that I'm actually reading of it, it is. Is that official? Is that official as a Beauty and the Beast retelling? Because I see it.
I'm just sitting here, you know, in the lounge. It's late. It's like middle of the night. Like, it's literally almost 2 a.m. And I'm just thinking about, like, what is happening? I'm sorry. I just am very significantly confused with, the dynamic of this family. Like, what is this? Feyre's not the oldest, but she's the breadwinner. I'm confused. Because isn't one of these siblings older than her? And, what? I gotta look this up on a Wikipedia or something because I'm significantly confused. And this dad is bothersome.
Hey, so I just had a horrific migraine. It's still kind of here. Couldn't literally see, so I took a nap for 2.5 hours and I have a presentation in 4 minutes, and it's across campus. Anyway, I have read about half of, ow, oh my god, that hurts so bad. I have read about half of A Court of Thorns and Roses at this point, and you know, here's where my commentary comes in. I don't like Feyre as a protagonist because I think that she's extremely underdeveloped. and I'm supposed to care for her a little bit more than I do because I don't know what I really care for her for. You know what I mean? Family doesn't really like her, even though she was the sole provider for them. That just makes me feel sympathetic for her. She's not developed enough as a person. Like, I know what she has to do, what she does do, her situation, but do I feel bad for her? I don't know. Like, I just don't. The characterization is pretty weak. Tamlin, he's our brooding love interest, yes. Just imagining that he looks like Orlando Bloom from Lord of the Rings. Lucien, he's fun. I like Lucien, actually. I like the sassy best friend in books. I always usually do, so he's cool. Grand Right or Great Right or something, where he basically becomes like a major horn dog for a night. I was expecting like, you know, like I was expecting like, and I didn't get it yet. And I'm halfway through. So it's like, it's not even a slow burn if it's not even flickering yet. You know what I mean? Like I want, so, you know, hoping that it comes soon, because if I have to read the second book, I'm gonna be a little bit upset. I wish they would develop Feyre more, because she's in such a weird position in her life and she's doing such weird things, and I would love to hear about it just a little bit more. So, yeah, give her some more emotions, please. Okay, here's where we are. My messy bed. I just was in the library for like 3 hours. Ow, ow, ow. Just a really tough week to be Claire. It's been like a few weeks to be tough to be Claire, but we're getting through it, and I'm quite proud of myself for doing so. 60-ish pages away from finishing A Court of Thorns and Roses finally, and I'm quite excited because it's finally kicking off. I didn't like it for a while, not gonna hold you. I didn't like it. Quite slow. It was just Feyre being dumb, and I just wasn't really enjoying that because honestly, she's not that exciting. But it just kicked up because, you know, spoilers ahead, sure. She has been asked to leave the court by Tamlin, who's doing it for her own safety because Amarantha exists, yes. First of all, a lot has happened since I've last spoken to you. Why don't I change into something that's not a fleece so I don't want to pass out? So anyways, you know, little intermission for the girls, little moment. Good Lord. A while ago, we met Rysand, who is part of the Night Court, I want to say, and he is not a fun time so far. Low-key, they're setting him up to be like a recurring character throughout the series. I'm probably right. He's gonna be a recurring character who we like end up liking, and he's probably gonna be my favorite because that's how these usually happen. Rysand shows up to Tamlin's court, and he's just being rah-rah, annoying, freaking everyone out. Feyre, with her little naughty self, tells Rysand that her name is Claire. Quirky for me. It's spelled different though, spelled wrong. And then we finally get our little spicy time, the first spicy time that we get to have. If you know me, you know I love a little good spice in my evening. I do like spice in literature, all right? Girls deserve to have a little bit of fun, no? After that, after they make love, right, Tamlin orders Feyre to go back home because he can't protect her from Amarantha and just, you know, she's the blight. We find out she's the blight. Wonderful setup there, by the way. I thought that was pretty good storytelling and kind of not a twist that I didn't really expect, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting that, and I think that it sets up a very interesting conflict. Sent back home reluctantly, and the whole family's been put under the glamour that she was visiting an aunt. She wasn't visiting an aunt, we know that, she knows that. And apparently, Nesta knows that as well. The glamour like didn't work on her or something like that. Nesta kind of cheeses me, but it's kind of in a way that I think that we're quite similar. I think Nesta actually might be older than Feyre. I don't really remember when she was talking about the birth order, but she gives little sibling energy. If she's older, then so be it, but she gives big little sibling energy, because I do too. Feyre takes it upon herself to go to the court to save Tamlin, basically. Alice tells her to go see Tamlin. Well, that's not at all what she says, but that's what Feyre hears. Amarantha basically found the Claire that Feyre was talking about and crucified her, tortured her to death, and then crucified her. Wild. Gives Feyre this crazy riddle that she's got to solve, and then tasks to complete, and then she'll let Tamlin go and take the mask off his face, whatever. This is where it starts to get gory a little bit. Feyre compound fractures her arm and like breaks her nose and like a bunch of other stuff so far that I read. Kind of extreme. I like it. I'm liking this plot way better than the first 2/3 of the book. This is when we're getting into good stuff, and this is gonna make me read the second book. Well, I probably wouldn't have read sequel or whatever to the first 2/3, but this I would continue to read, absolutely. Tamlin has been trying to protect her, and Rysand, how could I forget about this? Rysand's basically made a deal, a Persephone and Hades type deal with Feyre, where he has the rights to her for like once a week in a month, and basically she's like his little concubine during that week. Kind of nuts, honestly. Just setting Rysand up to one day be a crowd favorite. I always do this with characters of that nature. What's going on? I'm engaged with the book. I'm enjoying it, and I wanted to do this update because I've been reading kind of sporadically throughout these few days, and so there hasn't been enough information for me to kind of put in one thing. But now I'm about to finish it, so I stopped myself and I'm gonna finish it. Yeah.
Alright, I'm already back with an update. There's actually no way that she just said that she's picking the number 2 to save Lucian, because two is a lucky number, because that was like Tamlin and me, just 2 people. You want me to like her as a protagonist or not? Okay, I just finished. Alright. Final thoughts. I liked it. I actually really want to read book 2 now. Can we believe it? I sure can't. Had this book on my anti-TBR for a really long time. Only read it because my coworker, who I heavily respect, requested that I read it. So I was like, sure. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 stars, and here's why. It was slow in the beginning. The first third of the book, I was not very engaged. Second, third, I did get involved. In the third, I actually was very much into it. I read. Allow me to explain myself a little bit here. So when I say like that I wasn't engaged, it doesn't mean that I didn't like it, but it was just like, it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which is a fairy tale that I don't really enjoy to an extent. So when I enjoyed it, it was like, okay, this isn't awful writing, but I wouldn't come back for more, if that makes sense. The last parts of the book where Feyre's really engaging with Amarantha and the, plot conflicts, that feels like a different book to me. Like, it just feels like a different book. Like, it just got so much more interesting. Like, if they had the last third of the book be the only part of the book, I would still be fine, because it was just so slow. And then Tamlin, they developed Tamlin so quickly. Like, he was just like our brooding little love interest in the beginning, and then we find out like the intricacies of his character, but it was so late. And I know that it's a series, I know that we're gonna get more, but I'm just like, well, I mean, we already did, you guys have already read it, I'm like years behind, but bruh, like, why didn't we know about all this stuff? So I'm just like mad, because like, honestly, I almost DNF'd it in the middle, because I was just like, I'm sick of hearing about random stuff that she sees in the court, like random descriptions. Tamlin's development I really enjoy, and now I want to hear more about him. So maybe this is what she meant to do, so we would read more books. Me, Claire, I don't know. But yeah, and also the ending to the riddle, I never talk about it. And the riddle being, the answer being love, corny, but I like it. Okay. Feyre is not the best developed character, I would say. I think that for her to try to be a protagonist in an adventure book such as this, she's got to have a calling that I believe in, if that makes sense. Like Katniss, I know that she's about it. Feyre, I think I got that in the last third, right? I didn't know what she was doing for most of it, because not only is she kind of dumb, and I'm not talking about book smarts. What I mean is like social and emotional intelligence, kind of like I'm sad kind of thing, and I want more if I want to care. I think that we've got much more of like Tamlin's feelings and Rysand's feelings and Lucian, but not really Feyre, and I would like to see that develop. I'm coming back for more, because I honestly want to see how this Rysand thing ends up, because I said it, that they were going to set him up to be the villain who's not a villain, who really is good of heart and was just kind of caught up. And that's what they did. So, I would love to see how that kind of plays out. And the second book, I see it on display every day when I go to my job. Significantly bigger than the first one, so cute. 3 out of 5 stars for me. I enjoyed it. Can't say I didn't. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to everybody who was motivational and supportive through me reading this. I don't want to call myself a pessimist, but I was definitely cynical about this. I'd love to hear from fantasy readers and non-fantasy readers what you thought, because I myself am a non-fantasy reader. I mean, I don't know. I don't really do that stuff. I'm gonna get into it more because I enjoyed this. It's the end. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, night, morning. Bye.